fans, but also potentially internally. I think they were not happy with the reception the game got, obviously. They delayed it. We don't know when it will, other than we know they plan to bring it back out.
Well, they can pretty much do anything now. I mean, the pressure's now off.
Right.
So there's several things, 3 months, or they could delay it 6 months, or, if they delay it 6 months, or they could delay it, say, a year, and that'll be the 20th anniversary of Halo next year.
Yeah, I think it's good they delayed it. I do.
It's bad for the launch of a new console, but it's good for the long run and the franchise as a whole.
Well, you think it's starting to be a trend now, like with Marvel and with Cyberpunk? They just seem to be delaying a lot more of the big games lately.
Yeah, well, I think this year they're legitimate enough excuse as well.
Also true.
They're not working to their full capacity. You could say, well, guys, let's crunch here, let's get this out, and that would have been the wrong thing to do. This should have ray tracing in it, or parts of it should have ray tracing, and it doesn't.
Right.
That's an eye opener that worried me way back in the first place. But and I kind of think there'll be other ones that will follow suit here, even on Sony's side. I mean, you'd say Halo was one of the big tickets for the launch console. The one that is the big launch for Sony is really only Spider-Man, Miles Morales Spider-Man. Which is kind of controversial anyway, because it's like a big expansion rather than a brand new game. So both pieces of hardware don't have a big fancy lineup for launch. Yes, lots of small stuff, but no big ticket games. So that's just the way of it, I think.
I think there's going to be plenty to play on these consoles. I think for Halo itself, this was a smart move.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's a move, quite honestly, Microsoft has not traditionally done. So this is, I think,
brave.
Maybe a little bit of growth for them.
Yeah.
And I don't want to call it brave. I just want to call it smart. I want to call it smart because, look, Sony has been smart about games where they saw, I think about, the game with The Last Guardian. Mm-hmm. They delayed that game based on feedback they got when they initially showed it off, and the game was better for it. Almost every game that usually gets delayed has been better for it. I don't think there's really ever been a case that I can think of where a game got delayed and it was actually worse for getting delayed.
Daisy.
What do you call them?
Daisy.
What do you call them? The one that took 20 years to make.
Duke Nukem?
Duke Nukem. There you go. There's another one. There's another one.
That was dead on arrival. But I do think games, for the most part, when they do get delayed, as long as it's a reasonable delay, not 20 years, that can be used to benefit the game. And so it's a rarity that it happens where it is a bad thing. More times than not, it's a good thing to get the game in a better state. So let's hope Halo Infinite does become better for this, and that they're actually able to implement things that should have been there at launch.
Not stuck for choice, are we, in the meantime?
No.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Not really. And I think if Microsoft is smart, I know people talking about the launch. Yeah. To me, honestly, what Microsoft should be doing is really, and they're pretty much doubling down on Game Pass anyway, but Game Pass is their launch exclusive. If they really want to be smart about it, they push Game Pass with the launch consoles, give 3 months of Game Pass.
But 120 instead of 100 games, 120 games out of the box. It's not only Xbox One games, but it'll be the Xbox One X games that'll run on the new console. So the ones with higher definition graphics. So there are games already on the Xbox One X which are higher definition than the standard Xbox One. So the new series,
there's
plenty of stuff. Yes, Game Pass can't be ignored now. It's the best value out there.
Things that are not good value.
Wow.
Apple. Couldn't have games within the app. Then we heard about Fortnite. I want to say we heard about NVIDIA Shield as well, that have been complaining of really recent, the past couple weeks, about Apple's policies. Well, Epic Games apparently took it to another level. They are suing Apple over policies. Now, this is just reading off the story. The lawsuit comes after Apple removed Fortnite from its App Store. Fortnite developer Epic Games is suing Apple after the company removed the game from its App Store. In the lawsuit, Epic accuses the iPhone maker of anti-competitive, monopolistic behavior. And they say Epic brings the suit to end Apple's unfair and anti-competitive actions that Apple undertakes to unlawfully maintain its monopoly in two distinct multi-billion-dollar markets. Interesting stuff here, and I'm really curious to see where this goes, because that is the Apple ecosystem is very much they control it, and they don't really allow outside competition at all, unless it favors them, unless they get their cut. And some will say, hey, that's their right to do it, and maybe the courts come out on this. I don't know. But I know this has been a hot topic. Pete, I'm going to start with you. Any thoughts on this? Are you an Apple guy? I can't remember.
I've switched, haven't I? I've got one of these Huawei phones, so I've gone off the old
China.
I've still got my Apple iCloud account, but no, I've jumped ship, I'm afraid. I've jumped ship. I do feel like it shouldn't have been removed, though. It's not. I don't know. It's everywhere else, isn't it? Well, everybody else would do the same thing if it was, that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Fortnite had introduced their whole reason why it got pulled, why they pulled the game off. Was Fortnite and Epic, I should say, had introduced into a in-store app currency that basically kind of bypassed having to go to Apple to pay for things.
Is that really that bad?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is
a lot of money. A lot of money.
It